All right. A little history on Miles of Smiles Trucking. Douglas drove for Davenport Trucking back then when after the crash and everything got real slow. We got Pioneer left, the sand plants quit. There wasn't a lot of hauling, and we were talking one day, and he worked for Davenport, which I was part of that group at the time. And he said, you know, I'm gonna have to go find another job. Well, at that time, I was looking for some kind of business to start myself. So I was retired due to health reasons, but I was at home dying on the couch and wasn't having a good time at all. So when he called that day, I said, well, let's just create a business, because everything kept going back to trucks. Ever since I was a little kid, that's all I've cared about is trucks. So we formed the company on November the 7th of 2019, and me, Douglas, and Connie. And then on November, one day in November, I sent him a picture of a truck on Facebook that I just thought was beautiful, and he agreed. And now Ricky drives that truck 4141, but it's the Convoy Go Peterbilt. But we bought that on November 25th, 2019, which was my birthday. So that was our first truck with Miles of Smiles Trucking. Between 2019 and going into 2020, we bought 3 more trucks. We bought 3 more trucks. And one of them was a Black Cloud. It was the black truck, and he called it Tumbleweed. The original driver, Ray, called it much worse than that. But it cost us in just the month of August, towards the end of July through the month of August, that one truck cost us over $22,000 in maintenance. So somehow PACCAR was kind enough to take that as a trade, and we traded that truck, and we bought 2 brand new Kenworth 2021s. And we took possession of those in December of 2020, and the first load with those trucks under Miles of Smiles Trucking, or Miles of Smiles Trucking's first load, was hauled by Carrie Lynn here on February the 22nd. Carrie and Anissa both, actually. We bought that truck, and it was we had 3 months to make our first payment, and our first payment was due February the 14th, and they hauled their first load on the 22nd. so that kind of tells you, when we put a new truck on, what it takes to get it on. You got to get IFTA stickers, you got to get tags, you got to deal with the state, every government from here to Washington, and it takes slow process. Yeah, it takes time.
It sure is.
It takes time.
And when you get your IFTA stickers, call the boss and make sure he brings them.
Yeah, sometimes I forget those things. So, we bought our first trailer, I believe, in October of 2020.
That sounds about right.
And from this gentleman right here, Mr. Clint Holland
Chalk.
I've been saying Holland Sack, so I've been
Either way.
Holland Chalk. I don't know what that is, but I bet it's, what is that?
Czechoslovakian.
See, I can't say that either, so there you go. In the meantime, we bought our second trailer in, when did we take? We took it in December, didn't we?
Yeah, it was right around December.
Oh.
But that's right, whenever we got the insurance rocking and rolling.
Right. So now so we were insured, which I'm going to just go through this tomorrow, but well, I started changing. Miles of Smiles insurance all goes through Clint. But in the meantime, Clint placed an order for 3 brand new reefer trailers for us that we're going to take delivery in October, November.
Yeah, this fall to December.
So what's really good about that is I got 2 trucks to put 2 of those trailers under right now, and 2 guys that are ready to come to Miles of Smiles sitting right here. What's bad about that is I got another trailer we're going to have to sit there and make payments on until probably March. Yep. Because as of yesterday, we ordered 10 brand new trucks. which are,
How
10. So we,
That's why we don't go home every 2 or 3 weeks.
well, you need to go on a little more often than you do. So, but so along with that, so we've already got 5 trailers, and we've ordered 7 more for delivery. So really, by the end of the year, we're going to be 2 trucks short. But I'm assuming, hopefully, all this will be kind of straightened out by then, and we can find those trucks. But we're going to take delivery of 3 trucks in March, 3 trucks in May, 2 trucks in September, and then 2 trucks in October, and that's going to get us through 2022. We got to go find drivers for those trucks. So if you'll see your packets there, we've got pens and pencils. Everything is going to be driven to the website, which is here, which is, like I said earlier, it's still a work in progress. You know, we're going to have a driver's section, kind of what we do section. We have another company that's sitting out there marking time right now, which is Loaded Miles Freight Services, and that belongs to us too. So, starting when we get up to 10 units, 10 trucks and trailers, that's when we're going to launch that brokerage company. And by doing that, we'll be able to go to brokers. Well, we'll be able to go to shippers in San Antonio or Dallas or maybe San Angelo, I'm hoping, or Abilene. And, you know, a shipper says, I got 5 loads a week that leave here from Abilene. They go to Chicago every week. And I can go in there as a brokerage company and say, not only can I cover these loads at this price, but I have the equipment to do it. So you don't have to worry about me having to find those trucks. So once we start finding that lane, where are those trucks going? They might be going to Wisconsin, they might be going to Chicago, they might be going to Portland, they might be going to Louisville. You know, who knows where they're going? But once we find that lane, then Loaded Miles Freight Services will go to the other side of that where they unload and find that load somewhere nearby coming back to Texas. So the hope and the dream is to start building lanes from somewhere close to your home out to unload, reload, and come back home. Not be out more than 5, 7, 8 days. Come home for a couple of days. And go back out, you know, because I'm not a big fan of being out 3, 4, weeks at a time, or even 2. You know, I just the one thing I always say, and I tell Douglas this all the time, especially with his young boys, is, you know, this is how you make your living. This is not your life, and it's hard to do that in trucking, because trucking is one of those you got to be out there kind of things, but there are ways, and I know Tom has an example of a company in San Angelo. You know, the guy leaves on Monday morning, he gets home Friday afternoon, he leaves again Monday morning. You know, makes decent money and does well. So, right. So, we have a lot of growth plans. Everybody knows my health ain't all that good, so I'm always in a hurry. So I want to go big, go home. I've got Teresa's on here, I know. Is Jeff on here yet, Teresa?
Yes, sir.
There's Jeff. He's our CFO. So part of our expansion plans is we brought Jeff on board the 1st of July, and Jeff is our Chief Financial Officer, and he'll be talking later, and we'll let him kind of tell you his credentials and stuff. If you ever met him, you'd worry about us, but on the other side, I have all the confidence in the world in him. So here's my theory on this one. So what I want to do, right now we're at 2 trucks and 2 trailers with Miles of SmilesTrucking. By the end of the year, we'll have 4, because we'll have these 2 guys on there too. And then by March, we'll have them in new trucks, and we'll be adding another one. I'm hoping Rick Richardson will be our next driver for that, which we're ordering a truck just for him. So we'll see how that works out. But my vision is with these cards. So when you go into a shipper or a receiver, you go in there and there's somebody there that be it a guardhouse or someone for the company. Somebody asks you, what's your BOL number or what's your PO number? Why are you here? When's your appointment time? And I think what I'd like to see, if you guys would go in there and have that card filled out with that information. You're still going to give it to them verbally, just like you do now.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in there and you just give them that information. So like my vision is, so we'll be bringing these guys on. We'll have 4 trucks by the end of the year. When you go into a shipper or receiver, and what I'd like is before you go in is you write on that card that same information, and after you give it to them verbally, and before you leave, hand them a pen and a pencil, or maybe a cap if they're really nice to you. And but give them a pen and a pencil and hand them that card and say, look, I'm going to be in my truck. If you have any questions or if there's anything I can do to help you, don't hesitate to give me a call, and all that information I just gave you is on this card as well. They might take it and throw it in the trash or whatever they're going to do. But when somebody close to you dies and someone else comes along, what's the one thing they say? If there's anything I can do, and there is nothing they can do, but they appreciate that there's an appreciation from them that you ask, and then it feels like you're trying to do something too. So my theory on this is when you give them that card, say, hey, if there's anything you need from me, or if you got any questions or something, don't hesitate to call. This person you're talking to deals with 100 drivers a day. Some of them are in a bad mood. Some are just annoying. Like Carrie might be over there. Who knows? But I think when you give them that, say, if there's anything I can do, it sticks in their mind. It's something that when you walk away, they're going to remember you. So like, I know Carrie delivered at Publix one day down in Georgia. And 2 days later, I'm looking on my LinkedIn and on recent searches with somebody from Publix. So either he made somebody very angry, or he made such a great impression that we want to see who this company is that has the big smile on the side of the truck. So that's kind of what my thought is on that. I hope y'all agree. But I would like by the end of this year to nearly every shipper and receiver in this country have a pen and a pencil and a card with miles and smiles on it. And the pens and the pencils are going to drive everybody to this website that's right now still a work in progress, but it'll be done within the next couple of weeks. So that's going to help us build brand credibility. And then when we launch our brokerage company, that's something we can use that to show what we have. This is our sister company. So any questions on that, or any ideas, any comments?
Caps have been a pretty good form of advertisement, and I've had people name a company and I say Miles and Smiles, and they go, do what? Really? And I'm like, yeah, hang on just a minute, and
when sometimes I'll say I'm Chad Keith and they'll say the company, and I'll say Miles of SmilesTrucking, you can actually hear them smile on the other side.
Yeah.
And most of the time they'll say, I love that name. Mm-hmm. So Teresa or Jeff, do y'all got any comments, or?
Okay, we do get that a lot. Oh, I think Jeff's talking too. He's muted. You're muted.
Go ahead, Teresa.
I do get that even on, I deal with a lot on the accounting side. website on billing, and sometimes those people are not real happy people. But when I say the name, I get it too, just like what Carrie said and Chad said, and you can, it definitely, you hear a shift in their whole demeanor, even on the phone, and it just changes a lot. It's great to hear that, and it's awesome when you can hear that shift, and then even they end the call with, I really do love the name, so it's a great thing.
Yeah, I'd really like to hear from the drivers, like, when Chad said that you leave the card and, let them know if you have anything that they can do for you. I mean, how different is that from other people that are going to see that person at, the delivery area, or, the people that you run into?
Drivers?
I don't think I've ever seen a driver hand out a business card. Because I've never seen it.
I've seen several of them built.
See, that's great, that's,
I think that even if it's somebody, 9 times out of 10, they might think, I don't even need this. But the fact is, still, when you walk away, they're going to they'll remember you, they'll remember that truck, and when you check in and check out. And it just, it kind of locks you in a little bit.
But they're still liable to go stick it on a cork board or somewhere in an office, just because others don't do that.
Well, if we have a pen, a pencil, and a card, dropped off at every shipper and receiver in the country, that person you're giving that to, this time next year, he may be running the facility. He may be the head guy at the shipper. Or he might have somebody call down from the top and said, do you know of anybody that we could get, on these runs? And he might say, there's this company that's come in 2 or 3 times, and maybe you should call them. Here's their website. And the thing is, when they call and ask for those recommendations, I think they'd think of us first, just because we've made that imprint on their mind.
and, for everybody in the room, I've spent a lot of time in business, but I haven't had a lot of exposure to the trucking business. So I spent time talking to Chad about how do we set ourselves apart, and how do we differentiate ourselves as a company, because it's a competitive business. And if you're going to compete on price all the time, I don't think you'll ever really be ultimately successful. But I think the corporate culture and the concept of really creating miles of smiles and setting ourselves apart for a service aspect, and from really making people understand that that's what we're about. We're about trying to make it pleasant to do business with us, and easy and comfortable. I think that really makes a huge difference to most people when they're interacting with people, because everybody spends more time at work than they do anywhere else. They want to enjoy what they're doing, and if they're interacting with people who are happy, and whose stated objective is that they want to make people happy, I think it really does make a difference.
And that's right. We're working on some different things. Let me find the. So, like, when I was talking to Jeff last week, I'd showed him our vision and our mission statement, and I had a lot. We want to be the best. We want to be an industry leader, and I had a lot of stuff. It was pretty long and wordy, and I asked Jeff what he thought about it, and I put a lot of work into it, and he looked at it and he goes, well, to be honest, he goes, it puts me to sleep. And he said, because everybody says that. It says the same thing. So we were talking, and this is something that Jeff came up with here, Miles of SmilesTrucking, to be the friendliest trucking company on the planet. It sounds hokey, but don't you remember it? I mean, if you're on the website and you look at that, I don't know, maybe we're going to change it, maybe we're going to keep it, but after he said that, I saw his point, because I was reading what I was doing. Everybody says the same thing. Puts you to sleep. We're going to be the best. We want to be industry leaders. And so instead of saying that, we just say, we just want to be friendly.
Well, I like the card due to the fact that in today's time, every place you go into, it's got a big screen in front of them, and they got this little hole that you talk into and you hear from. And there's so many mistakes, and with people not speaking good English for some reason, you know, some of us are pretty redneck, and others just don't know good English. And I watched a lot of people, and the woman inside there was having difficulty with, you know, foreign languages and stuff like that. And then when it got nice, she was, and because she couldn't hear, but if you got all that stuff on the back of the card, you could tell her and hand it there, it'd make her job a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the point. We're willing to help make their job easier.
Yeah.
You know, and which in turn makes it easier for us, because sometimes they'll push you in the door a little bit.
That's right.
You know, I mean, a lot of times, you know, it's like Kerry brought up the caps a while ago. Is you know, the caps, in my opinion, are dollar for dollar about the best advertising there is. But they are dollar for dollar most pretty dang expensive too. But you know, nobody gives away hats anymore. When I was a kid, I mean, up through high school and up to maybe about 15 years ago or 20, you never bought a cap. I mean, it just wasn't nothing you did. I mean, people gave you caps. And if Ford wanted you to advertise on their head, you know, their name on your head, they gave you a cap. Well, now, that cap's, you know, $25. You know, why do you want to pay to advertise for somebody? You know, it should be the other way around. So I think we've kind of got into a culture where you get so busy cutting costs, you know, you kind of lose sight of what you're really trying to do. Does that make sense, Jeff and Teresa?
It does, and when I was in the oil field sales, the cap was the most coveted thing I could pass out. It was the thing I ran out of fastest, everything.
Yeah, you know, it's the thing they ask for, you know, if they know you've got them, you know, so.
I personally don't like caps because it covers my long flowing hair, but other people get it.
Yeah.
No, I think those kind of things really make a difference. I mean, it really does, you know.
That hair there is what he's talking about.
Makes people remember you, and, you know, makes it so they want to do business with you.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you know, we're talking about doing a driver page, you know, with pictures and stuff. And a lot of that depends on, you know, do you want your pictures on there? One thing I would like, if y'all be willing to do it, is to write us some kind of a short review, what it's like to work for us. Hopefully it's good. But something that we could put on the website as well. Nobody said yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Tiffany's going to. You know, one thing as far as branding and image and perception, it's not only the shippers and the receivers, but right now we're using a lot of brokers. TQL is by far our favorite. It's mine for sure, as far as
Definitely.
ease for booking and everything. But Hawkeye does a great job for us.
Scotland's pretty good.
Scotland does a great job. But the one thing to know about these guys is when I call them, they'll ask me, they'll say, "What's your MC number?" I give them my MC number, and you can hear them click on a computer. And anytime you talk to those people, they make notes about you. Anytime they talk to Douglas or Carrie or Nissa, they make notes. And before, if they're offering a load for $2,000, and I'm going to say, "Hey, I really need $2,400," a lot of times you can get that $2,400, but not until they check those notes. If old Douglas was crabby one day, I keep picking on Carrie, so I'll pick on Douglas a little bit. But if he's crabby one day, they might say no, you know. But not only do they keep notes, but there are like 3 or 4 different brokerage sites. One of them's called a 411 brokerage or something, but all these brokers are a part of this association, and they rate you, and it goes into there. And it's not, I mean, I got to pay the subscription as a broker to get in and see it, which I haven't launched the brokerage yet, so we don't do it. But we basically have a rating or a credit score out there right now. And honestly, it is really good. And even when you call a new broker, and they ask your MC number, and they'll say, hold on, you might be on the phone 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, you know, and then they'll come back, yes, which load were you interested in? But that's what they're doing. They're going in there, they're seeing if, you know, they want to know that you have on-time deliveries. That's the number one thing. But the big thing is how easy are you to get along with? Because they're dealing with thousands of trucks a day, and they don't want to deal with jerks, and they don't have time for it. You know, just say, hey, I'm sorry, we apologize, and just move. Because if you get in that battle with them, you're not going to win. They're going to call a cop or a manager or somebody, and you're just not going to win. And you know, everybody's life is different, and it doesn't matter however you picture yourself, however you see yourself as a person. There is nobody on the planet that sees you that way, and that's a fact. Believe it or not, you know. So, but the point is, when you're talking to that shipper or that receiver or that broker, there's something that they've done their whole life too that has molded who they are today. And you know, some people don't have a real nice childhood, or some people have a great childhood. It depends on who you're talking to. And everybody's going to be different, and it's just, I don't know what I'm trying to say other than just try to treat everybody with kindness, and if they treat it any different, understand if you're on their property, it's not going to work out in your favor. The only thing you can do is be kind and call me, and let me deal with something like that. So, any questions there? Any comments? Did that make sense? Did I hit you pretty close? I'm being on.
Yeah, pretty close.
Good one.
Well, of course, I'm deaf anyway, so.
Yeah, well, because you lived your life in a loud environment.
And a lot of times I talk loud, hoping that people I'm talking to will talk louder so I can hear.
Right. Yeah.
and you know, with the COVID, they put up that screen in front of you, or that plate window. And it really makes things even more difficult. So I'm leaning down there and I'm talking in there, put my ear down there.
Well, they're talking through a mask. And
It's rather difficult for me. So.
And
The car.
Little deals that you stick in your ear. And
Oh yeah. I thought just put it in the wrong hole or something.
but you know what? By the time you get there, they've done that 100 times today, and they're a little irritated about it themselves.
That's really not think them cars would work fine. You're right.
I think it's a good idea. You guys live life on a different level than anybody else, and you know, a lot of your loads pick up and deliver in the middle of the night. You know, you work day shift and night shift all in the same week. You know, you drive for 11 hours, you sleep for 10, you drive for 11, and you might drive all night one night, sleep during the day, and then drive part of the day and part of the night. I mean, it's that way. And you know, when you go into, you know, of course, there's this book I had Jeff listen to, and it's pretty interesting. But when you go into a truck stop, you know, when you get out of the truck and you're walking through, I mean, just loud trucks are running, refrigerators are running. I mean, it's just loud. You walk through 100 trucks, and there may be drug dealers out there. There may be prostitutes, panhandlers. You know, there's people that are clean shaven. There's people that look scary as they can be. And then you walk into the back of this truck stop, and you have the fuel desk, you have all the chrome stuff, you have mud flaps, you have all this other stuff. And you're walking into this world at the back of this truck stop, and on the other side of this world are the people in the cars. And they're walking in, everything's clean and pristine, there's potatoes. You're coming in the other side, the loud roaring side with, drivers and all kinds of other things going on. And when you walk in that side, there's little kids running around, and it's nearly like a little amusement park in a way. So it's the same building in two different worlds and two different people there. And one part of those people have no idea who you are and what you do on a day-to-day basis. And they don't understand everything they have came from you, one way or another. So